This one is going to be challenging to divide because unfortunately when I dug it up, the stalk snapped, and even though there still is a crown here, it's going to be hard to divide them. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to try to cut it in the middle, make it a little easier to separate the individual tubers. Now I need to be super careful because as you can see here, there's a very tight spot. So I know I'm going to lose a bunch of tubers, but as long as I have one viable one, it should be fine. Also, let me show you here because I can already see the eyes on this guy. So this tuber here has a very short neck, but it does have the eyes on the crown right here. So I'm going to try to separate this one carefully to make sure that at least I have this one if all the other ones fail. Okay, so right here, I'm going to try to do it. Looks like a good spot. All right. So now I have more manageable situation. So right off the bat, this one here is definitely a keeper. You can see it has two eyes as far as I can tell. So my next cut is going to be a very careful cut right here. You need to be super careful. Oh, okay, it's separated, which is quite okay. So I'm very hopeful that this is going to be a good tuber in the spring. You can see it has at least one eye, if not two, if not more, actually. So that's a good one. Let me just clean up these little roots. It's totally fine. You can cut them. This end here is going to scar over, so don't worry about it. And I'm also going to very carefully clean the crown a little bit. Not too much, because it's too close to the eyes. And that's it. This is a good tuber. I'm ready to continue cutting. So I have these three tubers here. I know I'm going to lose at least two. I hope I don't lose all of them, but as far as I can tell, I can only see one eye, which is right here. See it? Here. Okay. In fact, you know what I might do? I might just leave these two like this, connected without cutting them. All right, let's continue. This maybe has an eye right here. Let me see. Maybe has an eye right here. So I'm going to keep it. But before that, I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. So this one potentially has an eye, and I'm going to keep it. All right. The mother tuber here is, okay, this piece broke off, which it happens. Now, there might be an eye here, and again, these two are connected. There might be an eye here, and these two are connected. So I don't want to risk it. I'm just going to keep these guys together like that. And in the spring, I'll pre-sprout it and see if anything comes out. So keep them together. Next up. All right. This area here seems kind of damaged. I might not be able to save the mother tuber. So let me see if I can separate gently. Oh, you know what? I think this here is an eye. So I'm going to keep this one. Clean it up a little bit. I'm always looking for any signs of disease, but it looks fine. Yeah, so I am optimistic that this is an eye here, and I think I'm gonna get a sprout. All right, so these guys are small, but that doesn't mean they won't be able to produce anything. So let me see. So see here, these might be eyes actually. So I just want to kind of cut in between. This here might be an eye actually, but I can't really tell. So I'm just gonna trim this a little bit. And this is a maybe. All right, so here I'm pretty certain this is an eye. See it? I'm pretty certain that this is an eye. So my goal is to basically just cut this guy out. And this one too. My snips are not super sharpened, so I'm going to use the precision scissors. So I would say this one is going to be okay. It's going to scar over here. So I'm going to keep this one. These two are not viable. They have a neck, but there's no crown, and I'm going to have to compost them. I'm going to show you the method for storing that a lot of growers use, and it has worked for me quite well as well. So I'm using this wrap, and what you do, you take a tuber, you roll it once all the way, then you put another one, and I try to kind of spread them out when I roll so they don't end up like these big clumps. So I have this second one here. I'm gonna add these guys to right here. I'm gonna add I'm gonna give them a couple of turns. All right, make sure that you also tuck in the ends. All right. Also do it carefully, because if you have connected tubers like these guys, you don't want to snap them in the process. All right, so maybe let's do this one. I'm going to do this maybe twice. All right, next up is this guy. Now the reason, oh, I realized I need to trim this guy. Now, the reason you do it one at a time is to basically isolate them from each other in case one rots. So you don't want them to be together without being separated, because that rot, which is basically caused by too much moisture, is gonna transfer over to the next tuber that is right next to it. So that's why you need to wrap them in layers like this. So even though I could potentially put 2 more tubers here, I don't want to do that, because over the course of 5 months in storage, that moisture is going to be absorbed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it here. I'm going to wrap. I'm going to put the next one here. Wrap twice. This one here. And I love how they stack together like Tetris pieces. Again, just try to wrap the end as well, like this. Okay. Now the next guy here. And then this one too. I was just checking. This one does have eyes, so I'm just going to keep it here. Times. All right, I'm gonna cut it here at this point. Okay, now what I will do, because see here I have the exposed tuber, I don't want that. I want them to be completely wrapped, because they're going to dry out. So I'm going to get another piece. Just going to wrap it around the end. And I'm going to do, this one is pretty well packed, so that one doesn't. Okay, so that's how they are wrapped. That's how I'm going to store them. Very important, make sure that you keep the label on. So make sure you don't forget that. Let me find a narrower end here, like this. And even though I can't really tell if I tie a knot, it doesn't matter. It's labeled. So this is how it's going to be stored. I store mine in the basement. It's a finished basement. It's heated, so, but I have a closet that where warm air doesn't go. So that area there is always between 50 and 60 degrees at most. That's a really good place. So let's say you just took them out. It's let's say it's January. And you go check on them. I suggest checking on them every 2 to 3 weeks. I was not very good at checking them last year. But this method of wrapping each one individually actually helps a lot with the rot, meaning that you won't, one rotting tuber is not going to affect the others. But it's still good to check on them. So let's say it's January. I have already checked on them a few times so far, and this is how I do it. So I take it out of storage, and I very gently kind of feel the tubers to make sure they're still firm. Some of them will kind of soften a little bit. That's okay, as long as it's not mushy all the way. So as long as it's not like you're basically touching mashed potatoes. So you do not want that. You want firmness to it. And even if it's soft and looks shriveled, that's okay. Do not worry about that. I'll have another video about reviving shriveled tubers that are not rotten. Once I check on them, make sure everything is okay, I put them back. If I find that one is rotten, so it's super mushy and my fingers just press all the way down, I unpack it and I get all the way to the rotten tuber and I just remove it. If the wrap is very humid and wet in that area, I just dry it out with some paper towel and re-wrap everything, making sure that there's no extra moisture trapped.